Hi, I'm going to talk about the Duomo that we went to yesterday, and I'm going to give a description. When you first walk in, like all you see, the entire thing is full of marble, and it's absolutely beautiful when it's all black and white. It's just something that I've never seen before. And then you look to the ground, and the whole thing is basically one big mural, and they have parts of it are uncovered and then parts of it are covered because of so much like tourism going through. So what's really interesting is that at the end of August they uncover everything, they take out all the chairs, and then basically the whole thing is uncovered, and everybody's allowed to walk through and see it. And the only reason why it's open that long is because there's not like Easter and there's no holidays, so you're allowed to walk through and you can see everything, which is pretty interesting. And there's also a couple of Michelangelo statues in there before he created David, so that was pretty cool to see. And there's some other colors like reds, but it's pretty basic, but it's a lot of marble that's just really beautiful, and I would recommend anybody to go see it.
A few days ago we watched the Palio movie. It was pretty interesting. It was interesting because we learned that this horse race really isn't just for tourists, that it really represents their history, and it's a big tradition. Like, they wear traditional outfits and they ride bareback, and it's really where the whole town comes together for this event. And it was cool to see how crowded it gets and how they set up the square for it. They do like months and months of preparation for it, for literally like 75 seconds of racing. So that was kind of cool, but we're a little bummed because we won't be able to see it. It would be really cool to see.
We went to San Domenico Church, where we learned a lot about St. Catherine, and it was very interesting because she's one of the first women to not take the traditional route. Normally women would either A, get married, or B, become a nun, and she decided to just go on her own route, because if you become a nun, you can only, you're confined, so you can't be able to help the people, and she wanted to help the poor. So we learned that she was like one of the, the founders of, she was one of the, people who help women help others. And then we also learned that one of her relic is in San Domenico Church, and it's her skull. But the people of Siena don't want to know if that's really her skull or not, because it's just a symbolism that they have St. Catherine there with them. But they don't want to know if it's her actual skull or not.
I'm going to talk about the contrada. The way that we understood it is that there are 17 different kind of communities that make up the regions of Siena, and they're each represented by different animals that are related to patron saints. For example, the neighborhood that we're living in is the Dragon, and they're getting ready to celebrate their patron saint, and so they're beginning to decorate with lights and flags and things like that. So that's kind of the root of the contrada, and that also contributes to the Palio and the whole horse racing.
All right, well, we've had a couple lectures on Dante so far, and today we kind of touched on it was in the Purgatory, Canto like 17 or 18. He talked about the difference between natural love and love that comes from like reason or rationale. And basically it says that natural love really can't be wrong. It's kind of our instinct. Like, we need food, I guess we kind of need sex, we need things, we need our things, and even in some instances need to be violent. But when we use our reason to kind of take those things to the extreme, whether it's excessive or deficient or just misdirected, that's when you really, that's when he was saying that you would be going to Inferno. And another thing I thought was really interesting was how he said that love would be not only the root of all good, but kind of the root of all evil, because when you do have excessive love for something, or deficient love, or misdirected love for something, that's when you start to sin. So, and it kind of takes away from your love of God. And so yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
The Inferno is shaped like a large funnel made up of 3 categories of sins. The first one is incontinence, the second one was trespass, and the third one was fraud. Incontinence, he told us, was made up of lust, shelter, ire, and gluttony. It's something you can't stop yourself from doing, like instinctual. Trespass was violence against yourself, your neighbor, or God and things. and fraud was made up of fortune tellers, hypocrites, and flatterers. At the bottom was the worst evil, the worst sin of all, which was betrayal. And that's like betraying your kin, your country, guests, or benefactors.
In Dante's Divine Comedy, there are different contrapassos that show the relation between the sin that these people have committed and then their punishment. So, for instance, like for the people who committed gluttony, they are in the mud and they're suffocated by mud. And Dante did this as kind of like a providing a visual to where people could easily remember it. And it was something that people could they could relate to. Some of them were based on like phrases, popular phrases. You could say that the gluttony one was, they were like pigs in mud, so because they ate like pigs. It made it easier to remember, and it made it easy for anyone who was reading it to keep this visual in mind. This is just a kind of a technique that he used to pull everything together and to translate better.
We're going to talk about Satan according to Dante. And he said Satan is at the center of the earth, and he's trapped in ice. He's ugly, he's furry, he has 3 heads. Each head is chewing on one of the 3 worst sinners. Judas is in there face first getting chewed on, because he's the worst of all 3 of them. He's also responsible for gravity, because he's pulling people down away from God, more focused on earthly things and all that. And the whole gravity tunnel formed when he fell from heaven a long time ago, because he thought he was all jealous and thought he was better than God.
When our time is up,
It's just a perfect example. It's just beautiful everywhere. Everything is so beautiful. And, it's going to be weird going back to Illinois. Here it's been like kind of nice. We've just been kind of like, we have like an hour or 2 of class, and then kind of have the day to yourself. So it's, it's relaxing. Like I said, with everything so beautiful, it's really hard not to be having a good time.
will we